Today, let's take an updated look at Donald Trump's approval rating in all 50 states. It's been almost 3 months since I did this, so let's see where he's at. We'll look at Civiqs, but first we're going to start here on Morning Consult. So we've got the September update here, and the quickest way to look at this is to take a look at the map. Green is good, red is bad. So pretty much all the blue states, Trump clearly underwater. A lot of these states are dark red, -20 here in California. And then the green states are going to be positive for Trump. In Wyoming, he's up 29. All this data is fine to take a look at, but the main thing we want to look at is going to be the swing states. So in the Sunbelt states, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and then Nevada, Trump is within 1 point of even. But then in the Rust Belt, we've got Wisconsin. He's under by 6. Michigan, under by 4. Pennsylvania, under by 2. Now, just like with any piece of data, you got to look at it, but don't put all your weight on it. Approval ratings don't necessarily tell you how people are going to vote. I've been saying that as long as I've been doing this channel. But you do want to see if anything sticks out here. In Maine, Trump is underwater big time, -14. That clearly stands out. How about in New Hampshire? He's under by 17. Just based on this, I would think Trump wouldn't come within 10 points of winning the state. What about in Ohio? That's Trump-friendly territory, but he's only up by 4. How about Iowa? A similar state where Trump is up by 2. Maybe you think New Jersey is moving toward the Trump direction. Well, here he's underwater by 12. And in the Southwest, in New Mexico, it's similar, under by 13. In more Trump-friendly states like Texas, he's up, but it's only by 5 points. His home state of Florida, he's up by 7. There's been a little bit of fluctuation in some of these states since the last video, but the overall picture here, I'd say, is mediocre for Trump. So here we've got the key takeaways. Trump's net approval rating is above water in 25 states, but that is down from 27 in the last update. We've got North Carolina and Nevada. Now he's in the red in those 2 states. And in the other swing states, he's up in just one of them. That's Georgia, and he's even in Arizona. And in the 2 states that have governor's elections coming up, Virginia, he's at 44% approve, 53 disapprove. And New Jersey is right there at 43-54. So not great numbers, but still into the 40s according to Morning Consult. If we go down here, we've got the full list of every state. And his best state here is Wyoming. That's 62-33. Then the rest of the top states are all pretty much deep red. He finally dips below 50% on Georgia, where it's 49-48. Then he's underwater starting on Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, plus Michigan and Wisconsin, up to 6 in those states. How much of an opening would that give Democrats? I'd say potentially a little bit, especially in the midterms, as they're going to be more energized. But it's way too far off to gauge the next presidential election. They've got plenty of issues of their own, and this is just data for Trump. This is not comparing Trump to the Dems. So what about down at the bottom? Well, Trump's worst state here is a super blue one. It's Vermont. He's 31 approve, 66 disapprove, kind of the inverse of Wyoming. Rounding out the bottom 5 are Maryland, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Hawaii. Then after that, we've got the drop-down box. We could take a look at any state. Right now, I've got Pennsylvania pulled up. That's a pretty significant battleground. And since back in March, there was maybe a slight honeymoon, if any. And now Trump is barely underwater. But overall, not a whole lot of movement in this state. Then down here, we've got the methodology. The margins of error are going to be higher in states with less populations like Wyoming. Anyway, this is just one source. In the last election, Morning Consult didn't really do that great when they compared the head-to-head matchups. But because they take a comprehensive look at all 50 states, I think they're worth at least glancing at every once in a while. Now let's look at the other source. We've got Civiqs. This data is going to go up through the last update of September 8th. And this is Trump's job approval. That could be different than the favorability rating. Keep that in mind. But these numbers here are mostly harsher than Morning Consult. Nevada, he's underwater by 6. Arizona by 7. In Georgia, it's 9. North Carolina also 9. In the Rust Belt in Wisconsin, -6. Michigan, -11. And Pennsylvania, -4. So Pennsylvania is his best state of the so-called battlegrounds. That wasn't the case on the Morning Consult data. Here in California, he's underwater by 39. And Morning Consult, it was just by 20. How about the Trump-friendly states, Texas? He's still underwater by 3. And in Florida, he's under by 2. In Iowa, he's under by 4. And in Ohio, he's under by 1. And just for fun, we've got Minnesota. He's underwater big time by 20 points. In New Hampshire, he's under also by 20. And in Maine, it's similar at 19. What about in New Jersey? He's at -23, 60% disapprove. So these numbers are no doubt much harsher than Morning Consult. Even states that supported Trump by double digits, he's in the red here. So either Civiqs is picking up on something that Morning Consult isn't, or their methodology or their sample is going to be a little bit different. Now you could also narrow it down here with some of the different demographics here on the left. That's what I do in my other video where I take a look at Trump's approval rating overall. But this is just about the 50 states, so let's go down here and take a look at all 50. Anything highlighted here in blue is going to be positive. Anything in orange is going to be negative. I wish they had green for positive and red for negative. That would make more sense. But a lot of these, he's in the 40s or the 50s. Some of them, he's even going to dip down into the 20s. His worst state, according to this data, is actually going to be Hawaii, where he's only at 23% approve. That's 74 disapprove. That is even worse than Vermont on here. So there's really nothing too mind-blowing here once you look at all the states. At the bottom, we've got Wyoming here again at 66 approve, 30 disapprove. If you hate Trump, you want to see these numbers really low. Just like when I took a look at him for Biden. If you weren't a big fan of Biden, it was great to see these low numbers. And if you do like whoever has the low numbers, then you're going to be rationalizing it any way you'd like. Everybody loves to look at poll numbers when they're favorable. They want to dismiss them when they're not. I try to tell everybody to look at things in the aggregate. So these two sources don't paint a rosy picture for Trump. But it all depends on how you want to look at it. These are not the worst numbers we've seen. But as we get closer and closer to the midterm year, Trump is going to want to get these numbers up at least a little bit. If he doesn't get them up, Democrats might not feel like they need to change any of their positions and they could just run on generically hating Trump. So I think we're going to wind it down on this one. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about these approval ratings in all 50 states? How's he doing in your state? Do you trust these numbers? Do you think there's more to it? How much does an approval rating translate into support in the next election? Let me know what you think down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to support the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.